The market station above Karthos Prime never truly slept. Freighters drifted in and out like silent metal giants. Cargo cranes moved in patient rhythm, voices echoed through long steel corridors, neon lights shimmered in colors that never warmed. The cold floor at the far edge of Dock Ring 7 sat a dragon hatchling. His scales were dull copper, scratched by dust and neglect. His wings were small and fragile, not yet strong enough for true flight. A thin, worn collar rested around his neck. Though no chain remained in front of him, lay a folded grey cloth, carefully spread across the floor. On the cloth were three objects. A cracked hollow orb that could still project faint spinning galaxies, a wooden starship with one broken wing, a tiny silver bell that no longer made a sound. They were toys, they were also for sale. Eric's kept his head lowered as heavy boots passed by humans, traders, miners, ship captains, blue-skinned merchants from outer colonies, tall, insect-like travelers with clicking limbs. No one stopped for long. Some glanced at him with mild curiosity, some offered a single credit. Most walked past as if he were part of the metal wall beside him. A small sign written in uneven trade script read, "Toys cheap hunger had," made his pride very small. Eric's had not always lived on cold station floors. He was born beneath red skies, on a storm-torn world of cliffs and fire. Dragon clans once ruled those skies with fierce honor. They guarded volcanic mountains and ancient crystal caverns. They believed nothing could break them, but mining fleets arrived with drills and warships. Fire met greater, fire sky met steel. The clans fell one by one beneath orbital strikes and collapsing mountains. Eric's was too young to fight, too small to mine, too weak to be considered valuable. When the last transport lifted from the broken cliffs, he was left behind in a shattered cargo bay. He survived on melted frost from leaking coolant pipes, on scraps dropped by careless workers, on the stubborn will that dragons were born. With one quiet cycle, he found the toys in an abandoned locker. They had belonged to a human child, long gone from the station. At first he kept them only for warmth. Later he learned their small wonders. The hollow orbs still flickered when pressed. Gently galaxies spun across dark metal walls. The wooden ship felt smooth and solid beneath his claws. The bell once sang bright and clear. For a while they were not objects, they were company, but hunger returned stronger than comfort. So now he sold pieces of memory. A shadow stopped in front of him. "How much for the ship?" The voice was calm, steady, human. Eric's looked up slowly. The woman wore a mechanic jacket marked with grease and burn stains. A welding mask rested above focused brown eyes. A stitched patch on her shoulder read Mara Ionescu. "Independent salvage, 5 credits, he said. She picked up the wooden ship carefully, turning it in her hands. "It is damaged," she said. "3 credits then." Instead of answering, she studied him. "Where did you get it?" "Found it no clan, Mark," she said. "No handler chip either." "I am not property," Eric's replied quietly. She nodded once. "Good." She placed 10 credits on the cloth, for all of it. Eric's stared at the credits. "It is not worth that much." "Maybe not," she said, "but it matters to you." He hesitated. If he sold everything, he would have nothing left. No spinning galaxies in dark corridors, no smooth wood beneath his claws, no reminder that someone once lived and played. Without fear, "Why are you selling them?" she asked. "Because I am hungry for a moment." The loud market seemed far away. She stood silent, then asked, "Can you work?" Eric's straightened. "I can weld, I can carry heavy loads, I can breathe plasma hot enough too." Cut starship hull. A thin curl of heat slipped from his nostrils. She almost smiled. "I have a freighter with fractures in narrow sections." "Human arms do not fit everywhere." "For pay?" he asked. "Carefully for food," she replied, "and a warm place to sleep." He glanced down at the toys. "Keep them," she said. "I am not buying memories." He studied her heartbeat. Dragons sensed fear and deception through heat and rhythm. Her pulse stayed calm, steady, honest. "Why help me?" he asked. "Because someone once helped me. When I had nothing," she said. "Humans survive by lifting each other." She extended her hand, Mara. He placed his small claw into her palm. "Eric's," her grip was firm and warm. "Dock ring too," she said, "and try not to burn anything important." The freighter was old but sturdy. Starlight Errant was painted across its hull in chipped white letters. Inside it smelled of oil, metal, and something cooking. She guided him into a narrow maintenance shaft along the inner hull. "Can you seal that crack?" Eric's inhaled slowly and released a thin, focused stream of plasma. Metal glowed bright, then fused smooth and strong. Mara let out a low whistle that would have taken me half a day. She handed him a cloth to wipe soot from his snout. "Kitchen is down the corridor," she said. "There is stew." The word alone made his wings tremble. In the small galley, a pot simmered gently. Steam rose, carrying rich scent through the room. She filled a bowl and set it in front of him. "Eat," he tasted carefully. At first, the broth was hot, and real chunks of protein filled his mouth with strength. Spices burned in a pleasant way that reminded him of volcanic air. He ate until the bowl was empty. She filled it again, without comment. "There is space near the engine core," she said. "It stays warm during jumps." "For how long may I stay?" he asked. "Until you choose." Otherwise, days became weeks. Eric's patched vents, sealed hole seams, and cleared plasma conduits. He learned the rhythm of hyperspace travel. He learned how to read sensor data. He learned that Mara sang off key while repairing circuits. He learned that humans were stubborn, creative, and deeply loyal. In return, the Starlight Errant ran hotter and stronger than before. Other captains noticed the clean weld lines. Pirates thought twice when a young dragon perched near the exhaust ports. Word spread quietly across trade routes. A human mechanic and her dragon. One quiet shift. Eric's sat beside the engine core. The holoorb projected spinning galaxies across the curved metal. While the engine hum vibrated gently beneath him, Mara entered, carrying 2 steaming cups. "Hot chocolate," she said. "I researched whether dragons can drink it. The results were inconclusive." He sniffed the cup, then took a careful sip. Sweet, warm, unfamiliar. Acceptable, he decided. She sat beside him, resting her back against warm metal. "You could search for surviving clans someday," she said softly. He watched the tiny galaxies turn in endless circles. "Maybe, but home is not only where you hatch. Home is where someone waits for you to return." She nodded slowly. Outside, the viewport stars stretched into bright lines of warp. Endless dark filled the space between systems. Inside the freighter, warmth filled the engine room. Eric's was no longer a hatchling selling toys on a station floor. He had work that mattered. He had food each cycle. He had a place where his fire was valued, not feared. Most important, he had someone who saw more than scales and plasma, someone who saw a future. As the Starlight Errant moved through the void, steady and unafraid, copper scales reflected soft engine light. Human hands adjusted controls with quiet confidence. In the vast, cold universe, a small act of kindness had changed the course of a dragon life, and together they flew forward, carrying stubborn human hope and growing dragon fire side by side.